friends. Welcome to the Neon Rainbow Singing and Playing Your Guitar. We are deep into this class, and I'm really excited about what's been happening and the people that are writing back and asking questions about what we're working on. It's really good. This is a song that I wrote to sing with my preschool kids as my beginning of every time we go live, especially, I used it live, but now we use it for our preschool Zoom classes. It just asks the question, are you ready to sing? And then there's a la-la, kind of a warm-up thing. So don't forget that the first things we did when we were looking at the earlier lessons in this class is the warm-ups. Those should always be what we do. Got to make sure that you have your posture right, so your breathing can be good, so you have the proper support for all the notes you want to sing. And you are warmed up. At this time of the day, I expect that your voice is probably pretty warmed up. When I do my live Q&A sessions, it's always very early in the morning. And so I've got the low, deep, the Barry White voice, or the Lou Rawls voice. And by the end of the day, my voice has been quite warmed up and maybe over-warmed up. And so I have a little higher pitch to everything. So I have to keep those things in mind all the time as I'm trying to warm up. And trying to know what I'm doing next. So don't forget the warm-ups, even though we're 5 weeks into the class. We want to talk today, though, about simplifying the arrangement so that we can sing and play at the same time. Because we've talked about using the guitar as a pitch helper to help us know where we are, where our voice is in relation to the songs we want to sing, and singing different pitches if I want to get a starting pitch or something like that, because I've learned where my voice is. We've talked about different vowels and the shapes of those kind of things. We've talked about using tools to be able to move the song around so it fits your voice better. And today we're going to talk about what can we do in the playing of the song that can help us sing. So here's an example from my life as a teacher and as a parent. My son took some guitar lessons with me when he was in elementary school. And then he went to junior high and he wasn't so into it. Now, some of his friends continued to take lessons with me in junior high school, but it came time, there was a project that was needed for his English class. He needed to do a personal project. He needed to set a goal and produce something. And what he decided to do was, I want to sing and play my guitar for the class. I was like, well, in about 15 years, I'm going to teach a class like this live for people. So let's practice now, son. But he really liked Take It Easy from the Eagles. And so he was trying to play it, and he was having trouble, like we talked about last week, with the chords matching his voice. And his voice was in a changing place. And so we used the capo to move around. It's played in G, so it's a pretty open chord song, but his voice wasn't quite there. It made it too high in one part and too low in another part. So we actually figured out where, for his voice, he could put a capo, which is what we did in last week, but he found a place that he might want to put it like this. So, well, I was running down the road trying to loosen my load. It fit into his voice better. And then the question was, how do I get to this place where I can sing this song and play the other stuff with it at the same time? Well, going on in the song, and in the song there were kind of the intro lick. There was that, and then there was this. I got a whole bunch of lyrics. Got a lot of words. It's very wordy, and it's a lot of note. So it's kind of a chant-like kind of thing. There's a lot of songs that are like that. Down and down the road, trying to It's only the range of singing is not very much. But you notice what's going on in the song. Down the road, trying to loosen my load. I got 7 women on my mind. So what they did in their presentation of the song when the Eagles were playing is they simplified. Partly, it probably wasn't because they couldn't sing and play part. It was because when when I do this, I set it up, I leave space for the lyrics to be heard. So while you may be approaching this as I got to make this easier for me to do this, they were doing it on the receiving end is, if I'm doing a whole lot of stuff, people can't understand the lyric. And so I'm just going to play the chord at the beginning, and I'm not going to play the chord again until it changes to a new chord. Well, that turns out to be a terrific strategy for any song you want to sing and play. If the song has got any busy stuff with it, you don't want to be singing busy stuff at the same time. It gives the listener too much to listen to. It gives you too much to get wrong. So if we can put up the first song, Rollin' My Sweet Baby's Arms, we're going to use that as our example today. This is a bluegrass tune. And while that's getting ready to be put up on the screen, the boom chuck rhythm is the backbone of bluegrass. And often there's a bouncing bass, 5, 1, 5, 1, 5, 1, 5. So the song goes like this: rolling my sweet baby's arms, rolling my sweet baby's arms, over around the shack till the mail train comes back, and rolling my sweet baby's arms. Well, that's a lot going on at the same time. The song is not going fast, but there's a lot going on with the guitar. So what if I did this? Rolling my sweet baby's arms, rolling my sweet baby's arms, lay around that shack till the mail train comes back, and rolling my sweet baby's arms. So I do a simple chord strum when the chord starts. Rolling my sweet baby's arms. And when I'm holding a note at the end of the line, that's a good time to do the boom chuck strum. So I just start off like that Take It Easy song, rolling my sweet baby's arms. So I'm doing the boom chuck now with the right hand, rolling my sweet baby's arms, rolling my sweet baby's arms. I changed the chord and I kept the boom chuck going, and it let me, oh yeah, because when I played this G chord, my boom needed to start on the low E string. But when I play the D chord, my boom needs to start on the D string in the middle. I've got to have right hand accuracy. A lot going on here. Rolling my sweet baby's arms, rolling my sweet baby's arms, lay around the shack till the mail train comes back, and rolling my sweet baby's arms. So, just stepping back for a minute, I'm simplifying this arrangement. I'm not playing anything that's not on the paper, but I'm simplifying it by only playing the chord as a strum thing for the first 2 beats of every line. When I get to the third measure, which is going to, 3 out of the 4 times, it's going to take 2 measures for that. I'm singing 1 note. I change the chord and I'm singing that 1 note. It lets me practice the singing and playing at the same time. And I do this not on all 3 chords that are in a song. It's a 3-chord song. But we're not practicing the boom chuck on all the chords. We only need to practice on the G chord and the D chord. So if I need practice on this part, I'll just practice on my G. Now what I did there was the next step in simplification. I took out the singing altogether. I just did it in my head. Now I'm gonna try something. You may think I can't sing without any support. I can't do that. But the reality is all of us have to have the skill called audiation, where we can hear the music with no outside stimulus. So I'm gonna start and I'm gonna leave out some things and see if you hear what I'm leaving out. Rolling my sweet baby's Roll in, sweet babies, lay around the shack till. Roll in, my sweet babies. Now, every time I left something out, did you hear what was supposed to be there? Now, most adults can do that. All of us have the capacity to do that. Some of us didn't get the support when we were younger, and so now we're having to give it ourselves now. But that space where it used to be, that's also me having a song going along as a soundtrack in my head while I play it outside. It'd be like having the left and the right channels in your earphones. I'm going to have the guitar be all in one channel, my left channel. The voice all be in the right channel, but this time I'm just going to turn down the right channel. I'm going to mouth it. I'm not going to sing it out loud, but I'm going to mouth it. Here we go. Now I'm going to put it back in. Roll in my sweet baby's arms. Roll in my sweet baby's arms. Lay around the shack till the mail train comes back. And roll in my sweet baby's arms. Did you see how I wanted to start sneaking in some of those boom chucks when I was holding something or when I was singing something? That's what we're looking for. We want to accidentally play more than we intended, because that's showing us, it's revealing to us when we do that, that we're actually doing better than we feared. Because a lot of times we're afraid we're not going to do it right. Now, the boom chuck that I'm doing here is standard for folk music. It's standard for bluegrass and old-timey. And if you want to go and take a look at that, because that piece is just a little bit unfamiliar for you, take a look at my bluegrass lessons, because I have, and Tyler Grant has wonderful bluegrass lessons. We have a lot of great bluegrass lessons here. But go take a look at someone who's doing the boom chuck rhythm and work on that if that's where your challenge is right now. If your challenge is rolling my sweet baby's arm, because this is your strumming pattern, rolling my sweet baby's arm. Lay around the shack till the mail train comes back, and roll in my sweet baby's arms. Now that strum works just fine. You may feel like it doesn't sound right because the bluegrass strum has a lot more going on. That's okay. The thing is not to play faster or to sing faster to make up for that. The thing is to make your strum and your singing match with each other. If you are going to do it really slow as a lullaby, slowly in my sweet baby's arms, you got to sell it. You got to do the whole song in the same slow tempo as the same lullaby, so that I go, yeah, that was a nice arrangement that he did right now. That may not be the way you're going to do it all the time, but putting it together in one solid, coherent piece, it's like they say convoys can only go as fast as the ship. There may be destroyers that can go really fast, and then you got the big tanker, and the big troop ship may not be able to go so fast. So the destroyer can't just run out and go as fast as they can to get away. That leaves everybody else like sitting ducks. You've got to take the whole song forward. And the slowest part of your song is going to be the fastest that you can go. Keep it all together that way. As you're keeping it together, that's when you're going to find out that some of your destroyer parts, they can actually play faster while you're singing. Roll in my sweet baby's arms. That wasn't so hard now. Roll in my sweet baby's arms. Lay around the shack till the mail train comes back. And roll in my sweet baby's arms. Now there's two things that I did there it's still simplified. I'm doing the boom chuck, but I'm simplifying it. The first thing is I didn't do an alternating bass. I just did the root position bass for every chord that I played. And if I bump something else, because I have the chord shape down with this hand, it doesn't hurt anything. I'm bumping something that's part of the chord, so I'm not going to worry about that. That's the first thing I did. The second thing I did, if you look in line 3, it says the second measure has a G7 chord over it. I don't know if you've noticed, I've been skipping that G7 chord every single time. It's cool when it's there, but it's not required for the song. It becomes a passing chord to get me from G to C. That's really fun. But if you're struggling to sing with guitar, strip out those things. Just play the straight up chord. Don't worry about the 7 stuffs, the 7 things. The minors you have, you can't just substitute a major chord for a minor without unexpected changes. But here, if I leave out that 7 chord and it lets it be a 3 chord song for me, and I can develop my capacity, that's good. Now, let me say a word about that for a moment. My whole approach to everything I do is capacity building. This is not figure skating where they give you all the points at the beginning and then take them away for everything you do wrong. I give you 0 points to begin with, and everything you can do, you get points for. And so if you start off not being able to do anything, but you can hold your guitar and you can strum the chords, you already get points. If you can strum the chords in a regular rhythm, you get more points. If you can match the pitch of where the song should be, you get more points. If you can keep the song going all the way through, that's just really cool. Okay, so now let me just ask a question. So now let's do it with all the stuff in it. But you play with me, and you just do the parts you can do. If you accidentally play what I'm playing, yay! Here we go. Rolling my sweet baby's arms, rolling my sweet baby's arms, lay round the shack till the mail train comes back, and rolling my sweet baby's arms. Ain't gonna work on no railroad, ain't gonna work on no farm, lay round the shack till the mail train comes back, and rolling my sweet baby's arms. And I did a lot of stuff in there. I did some licks, I did some walking bass, I did the alternating bass drum and everything, but I hope you were able to just play along with me at the space you could. So here's the last time through the chorus before we move on to another song. Rolling my sweet baby's arms, rolling my sweet baby's arms, lay round the shack till the mail train comes back, rolling my sweet baby's arms. Now, after you get done singing, make sure you always smile. Always smile. And then say, isn't that a good old tune? Because one of the things it does is it gives you something to do when you're done. And every one of us, as soon as we're done, I find when I watch videos of myself do stuff, I will touch my head, I will scratch my nose, the back of my head, I'll pull on my ear. As soon as I'm done playing, I got to fidget in some way. I don't know why. But if I give myself something to do, I got to smile. Okay, well that stops me from doing those nervous tick things. I'm smiling. And then I'm telling everybody it's a good old tune. So my focus now, this is the secret. The focus is now on the tune, not my performance of the tune. So now I'm less worried about, and I've redirected everyone else's attention. Whether or not I'm good at it is another thing. But to say, isn't that a good old song? Good old tune. Yeah, I like that tune. Then it lets them go into their memories and connect with the tune rather than whatever I'm afraid they're thinking about my performance of it. Now, they may like it so much that they're clapping really hard and they're giving you emojis in the chat and all those kind of things that happen in these distance performances. But even if they are doing those things, they're doing those things and celebrating with you. This is a good old tune. And one of the things that can happen is they might want to learn this tune as a result of your performance of the tune. When you didn't think you had that good of a performance at all, they're just connecting it and say, that's a good tune. I want to do that. I want to learn that tune. So just to recap, we took a tune, we stripped out all the difficult stuff, we just played the chords of the tune, we sang, we played the chord and let it ring, and then when we were holding a note, we did some strumming, and then we started adding things back in, sometimes by accident, sometimes on purpose. And what we did was create a performance of the tune that was both within our capacity to do it and push ourselves a little bit beyond where we thought we were comfortable doing. And that's growing in our musicianship. That's just a good thing. Now, there is a question. Do I sometimes try to emulate a drum fill or other rhythmic feels? And I love that question because we are playing a percussion instrument. Yes, it's a tonal based instrument, but we always So just using deadening the strings, I go up the neck a lot so I don't accidentally try to play a chord. And I get scratching. In that opening song, are you ready to sing? Are you ready to sing? Are you ready to sing along? Are you ready to sing? Are you? I do that scratching stuff, especially if I'm waiting for people to come up with an idea for what we're going to do next, because that's a substitution song or a zipper song where you can zip in their idea and the song grows according to the participation of the audience. So yes, taking out, using your drum, especially if you're a solo person, palm mute with a chuck, those are perfect kind of things to do. So yes, that's a good thing. Thank you for asking that question. There's another question: who are musicians that I look up to in this style? Doc Watson, certainly. Norman Blake. Of course you're going to ask that, and I'm going to forget everybody. I'm thinking there's a lot of bluegrass players I love. But I'm thinking about their soloing more than their singing and their performing at this moment. Like Dan Delancey out of Kansas City is a wonderful, tasteful bluegrass player, but he doesn't sing that much. He does sing along and he sings harmonies, but he's not usually the melody singer. But that would Doc Watson, Dan Delancey, Norman Blake, Lester Flatt, of course. And I'm forgetting everybody else right now. So those are some of them. Well, let's move our attention and let's go to this old sea shanty. It's got a completely different feel. Drunken Sailor. It's a 2-chord song. We're using E minor and D. And like with this one, we have... This one is a very wordy song. It doesn't have as many places in order to take the break and fill it in. So let me demonstrate for you. What can you do with a drunken sailor? What can you do with a drunken sailor? What can you do with a drunken sailor? Early in the morning, throw him in the brig until he's sober. Throw him in the brig until he's sober. Throw him in the brig until he's sober. Early in the morning. So this is a very wordy song. However, the words are repeating all the time. What can you do with a drunken sailor? What can you do with a drunken sailor? Early in the morning. Or throw him in the brig until he's sober. Throw him in the brig until he's sober. Throw him in the brig until he's sober. Early in the morning. And you see what I started to do there, even though I was doing a lot of strumming, is I did a lot of palm muting because I was trying to make sure that my words were going to be able to be understood over all the singing, all the guitar strumming. So stepping back, by only changing the chord, playing the chords when the chords change and letting them ring, that gives me a place to put in all my words. Now you may feel, I've had people, when I'm asking them to do this, when I'm the music director of whatever we're doing, and I say, now, can you just strum when the chord changes? And one of them, frankly, rebelled and said, I don't want to be it was like a Nancy Nothing or a Sit Right Susie or something. I can't remember. She said, I don't want to do this. She wanted to play more, but she was playing the only electric instrument in an acoustic band. And she wanted to go ticka, 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 play her chords like this in an open position, and everything just got muddy and filled up all the space. And so it was frustrating for me because she wasn't doing what we needed her to do because of the instrument she was playing. So this is also a good discipline for playing less and getting more out of it. Because when she was playing her open chords with her electric guitar, that had an undefined tone, but it kind of was all over everything. Nothing else could be heard. But she felt happy because she was doing a lot, because she felt like you have to do a lot in order to be doing something. And I want to counsel that that's not the wisest way to go. But here's a way to be able to mix that. I want to strum. I want to do something. I want to be able to do something. So here we go. What can you do with a drunken sailor? What can you do with a drunken sailor? What can you do with a drunken sailor? Early in the morning. Now, that was one time through the verse. Now, strum. Throw him in the brig until he's sober. Throw him in the brig until he's sober. Throw him in the brig until he's sober. Early in the morning. I'm alternating which verse I sing and which chorus I sing and which verse that I play. Put him in the 30-day detox program. Put him in the 30-day detox program. Put him in, just updating it. Put him in the 30-day detox program. Early in the morning. Change your friends or you'll never get clean. Change your friends or you'll never get clean. Change your friends or you'll never get clean. Early in the morning. One day at a time and then you can make it. One day at a time and you can make it. One day at a time and you can make it. Early in the morning. La 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 la. That time I added some singing with the playing, and it was very busy, but I took out the confusion of the words by just using the symbol la. In this style of music, in sea shanties and British Isles music, there's a lot of things that have nonsense syllables. Fiddle-a-leo and roly podily, fiddle-a-leo and roly podily, fiddle-a-leo and roly podily. And being able to do that is tricky but fun and wordplay that could be a way that makes it easy when you go back to singing actual lyrics. So in this case, because every measure has a lot of stuff going on in it until you get to morning at the end of the verse and morning at the end of the chorus. Those are the, if you see how we're intentionally using less going on when the singing happens in order for it to be a more dramatic presentation of the lyric of the song. This is one of those sea shanties, so it gets used as a work song when people are pulling the sheets to get the sails to go up. When they're doing any kind of work that needs a rhythmic activity that keeps them on the work and in time with each other, this kind of song is one that comes from that tradition, which means that we can do that too. We can heave ho, tucka tucka da da, heave ho, tucka tucka da, heave ho, tucka tucka da da, hee dee 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 dee, heave ho, tucka tucka da, heave ho, tucka tucka da, heave ho, lie in the morning. So I hope you're understanding the things I'm doing here are intended to not only help the singer play the song and at the same time, but also make it an enjoyable presentation for the people who are listening. So it doesn't, so that the singer can have confidence this is something worth sharing and not just this is my exercise that I learned in my lesson this week, which if we do it that way, it sets up an expectation for people to go, oh, I don't know, do I want to hear this? Unless you say, look, I got some, let me, come here, I want to show you something. And then do this kind of thing. And they're into it and they're out of the evaluation thing. And you together with them are sharing in this song experience, which always makes singing and playing together more enjoyable and builds your capacity and confidence. So the sea shanty is another way to do it. Even when it's a very busy song, you can insert an instrumental version of that, even if your mouth is the instrument or your silence is the instrument. And you just do a lot of strumming. So that's what we did for this one. So now let's take a look. This is the last song we have today, and it's here in two different pages. I'm not sure how it's going to be presented here because I'm learning how to do some importing things in Guitar Pro, and I originally had this song in Finale, which is the music program I use the most, and I'm learning how to transfer things from Finale into Guitar Pro. And today was the first successful way to do it. The Ballad of Jesse James. Jesse James was Jesse James was a man who traveled through the land, a hard-working man and brave. He said, now I can't read the lyrics because I forgot to print out that page. So let me quick open that one so I can see the lyrics. Because the words I've got in my head right now are Woody Guthrie's Jesus Christ. So Jesus was a man, a carpenter by hand. So he took this tune and set that to it. Here we go. Jesse James was a lad that killed many a man. He robbed the Glendale train. He stole from the rich and he gave to the poor with a hand and a heart and a brain. 2, 3, 4. Jesse had a wife to mourn for his life. 3 children, they were brave, but that dirty little coward that shot Jesse Howard has laid poor Jesse in his grave. Now you can see what this has in common with the Roll on My Sweet Baby's Arms is you got a story and a long bunch of stuff to say and then something to hold for a while. So in the verse, it's the D chord in the middle and the G chord at the end. Now the chorus adds another chord, adds the C chord, but it also has the same D chord on which we can do stuff, and then the same G chord at the end on which we can do stuff. Now I'm doing this pretty slow because can we put up the second page of this one? In the tablature of the strumming, you can see it looks quite busy. All the way through it. So you can see it's very busy in the tablature side. If we're going to go, let's go back and do our process. We have the lick at the beginning. Jesse James was a lad that killed many a man. He robbed the Glendale train. He stole from the rich and he gave to the poor with a hand and a heart and a brain. Wife to mourn for his life. 3 children, they were brave, but that dirty little coward that shot Jesse Howard, he laid poor Jesse in his grave. Now that's just playing the chords basically when the chords change. Now let's put them in at the beginning of each measure because this is a longer song. Jesse James was a lad, killed many a man. He robbed the Glendale train. He stole from the rich and he gave to the poor with a hand and a heart and a brain. Jesse had a wife to mourn for his life. 3 children, they were brave, but that dirty little coward that shot Jesse Howard had laid poor Jesse in his grave. So I didn't do the bluegrass strumming through any of that until I got to the very end. I could have done it in the middle too, but I decided I was just going to wait to the very end. Now I'm going to do it as an intro and put it in every time I have space. Jesse James was a lad that killed many men. He robbed the Glendale train. He stole from the rich and he gave to the poor with a hand and a heart and a brain. Jesse had a wife to mourn for his life. 3 children, they were brave. But that dirty little coward that shot Chester Howard, he laid poor Jesse in his grave. So I gave myself, I kind of kept my horse in check until we got free, and I'm all the way through that verse, and I could do a whole time through just playing the chords. Now this time, every time I've got a dotted half note, I'm gonna do a little strumming stuff with it. Jesse James was many a man. He robbed the Glendale train. He stole from the rich and he gave to the poor with a hand and a heart and a brain. Jesse had a wife to mourn for his life. 2 children, they were brave. But that dirty little coward that shot Jesse Howard, he laid poor Jesse in his grave. He laid poor Jesse in his grave. He laid poor Jesse in his grave. Now I went a little overboard with all my stuff at the end there, but I'm trying to test myself to see from only strumming when the chords change to adding something in the long G place, to adding something in the D place as well as the G place, to adding some stuff when the half notes are dotted, which means I have to have a keen eye, or I can print this out and use my highlighter to highlight where I'm going to be doing my chords, and use different colors for different things. So the orange is going to be something, the blue will be something else. Maybe I'll get a yellow or a green one. And I can say, this time through I'm going to play the orange stuff, and this time through I'm going to play the blue stuff. It's a way to take one piece of music and make it very versatile and make it a good learning tool for you as you're doing it. Okay, I see a question here. What do I think is the most challenging aspect of playing and singing at the same time? My experience for most of my students is they struggle with keeping the rhythm steady on the guitar. And if it's not that, then they struggle with when they're holding a note, they don't keep the breath support there and the note falls down and becomes sung flat. Almost never, for a lack of energy, are we singing sharp. We're almost always singing flat because we don't have good posture, we don't have enough oxygen and breath support. We aren't using our instrument so that we can keep all the notes at the same level. Sometimes we forget to let go and we just keep singing the whole thing, and we're out of breath when it comes time for the next thing. So I think if you're going to have to diagnose for you, which do you think is of the playing, singing teeter-totter is the bigger challenge for you? This wasn't his issue, but there was a fellow that I jammed with for a play in jam sessions who was an amazing, he had this storehouse of tunes in his head. And, it's time for a tune. He always had an interesting one he could call out. The only thing that we noticed always happened, whenever he played a solo, he sped it up. So we had to make sure that he only played the solo the last time through. Because if he played the solo at the beginning, we were all going to fall off that horse. So we played the song which he brought to us, was lovely. He had let him have the last solo, and we'd pick it up and go out, and we'd all clap and say it's a good old tune. But if he was playing at the beginning and speeding it up, we were going to have struggle. This happens with people that are singing. It wasn't his issue, but there are people who, when it's their turn to sing, they speed up or slow down what's going on, and so the timing doesn't match for the whole song. So that's when I think the timing is the biggest challenge. Then, if that is not the issue, and you simplified and you're making it that's nice and steady, but your pitch doesn't quite match, then that's the next big challenging thing that people have. And I think the answer for that is to sing a lot of long tones. You're just singing the tones and trying to make the tones match the vibration of what the guitar is doing. And record yourself. I've said this before. You can use the Jam Play tool in the live Q&As to yourself as a baseline recording. It's just click and record. I mean, it's not hard. You can also use your phone or your iPad or your web camera, whatever it is that you can do to capture, and then date it. Your software might automatically date things, but date it so that you can use it as a comparison. It's also helpful if you title it that way, like week 5, you're doing the same thing over 5 weeks. Week 5, when you compare it with week 1, do that and then listen and say, what do I still need work on, or what's really going well? Or maybe you had a lucky week 1 and now you're looking at your week 5 and you're going, oh man, this is so awful. Give yourself some credit. You're doing a lot. And so don't give up if 5 is not as strong as 4, or it seems less strong than 1. Just keep these. They're sketches. They're not the finished product. They're just steps on the path. Now, if you've got the timing good and you've got the pitch okay, then the problem is remembering the lyrics. And there's all kinds of ways that people do that. I find that if I actually write with my hand or type the lyrics out, it uses a different part of my brain processor, and so I have a better chance of them being sticky and hanging around longer. The other thing is, sometimes all I need is the first couple words of a verse. And that's where you'll see sometimes people have taped a note card to the side of the guitar. I did that for a while with one song that I wrote. Of course, no one else can feed you the lyrics if you wrote the song. But it turned out there were like 7 verses, but I only needed to know the first line of each verse, and then I was fine. And so I'd have a little card I taped to my guitar that had 1 and the beginning of that verse. I didn't need the whole verse. Yeah, that's right. And that's the way and then eventually, because I did that and had this reference point, I didn't need that on my guitar anymore. Or I needed it for a new song. So then I'd swap it out with a new one. Now, there's a question asked, when I'm talking about simplified, am I talking about getting rid of syncopation? That can be a way to simplify something, but it's not specifically that. I think there are so many different ways to simplify. The first thing I did is I didn't play every measure. I only played once when the chord changed, and I let the guitar ring. So it wasn't just getting rid of syncopation. I got rid of everything other than the sounding of the chord when the chord changed. And I think you still recognize what the song is if you're not playing as many chords. I've been working on the railroad. I've been working on the railroad just to pass the time away. Can't you hear the whistle blowing? Rise up so early in the morn. Rise up so early in the morn. Can't you hear the captain shouting? Dying to blow your horn. Now, I forgot what key it was. To the wrong 505 chord, but I fixed it because I heard it. I wasn't doing so much that I couldn't fix it. But that's still a good song. And then when I get here, Dinah, won't you blow? Dinah, won't you blow? Dinah, won't you blow your horn? Dinah, won't you blow? Dinah, won't you blow? Dinah, won't you blow your horn? And then I put a little descending lick there in the space when I'm holding it. And that I don't know about you, but I hear that and I get excited. It's like, oh, there's something going on here. There's some fun. Let me think if I can think of a song that has syncopation in it that I wouldn't, that I would, if I take it out, I might miss it. Um, don't worry, be happy. Oh, I'm not doing the chords right. No for no, don't worry, be happy. Won't worry, be happy. Don't worry, be happy. So there was syncopation missing when I took out the reggae flavor, but I'm assuming it. I'm not getting rid of it so that I don't hear it. I keep that rhythmic loop going in my head. Now let's try something here. Get my Afro-Latin percussion, Afro-Latin drum machine. Let's see if we have a. So this might be where my rhythm comes from. Mind sing it, note for note, don't worry, be happy. So I'm letting an outside source play all the interesting stuff, and I'm just playing the chords so that I can focus on the words, which is the benefit of having some kind of a tool like that you can play along with. But the idea of simplifying is to make it possible for you to do the singing and the playing at your level of comfort, at your level of achievement, but also give you a view toward what you can do next to move forward. So singing and this kind of a secret too. We took a look at Rolling My Sweet Baby's Arms and Drunken Sailor and the Ballad of Jesse James as examples. And I encourage you to do that many-step process with any one of these songs. Or if you've got some time, do it with all of them. But record yourself at the beginning and then do some practice with it. And after a week or so, record yourself doing the same thing again so that you can listen to your progress and see what you're surprised by, and see what sometimes we're stymied by something that continues to be there as an issue, and sometimes it's like, wow, that thing that I thought was so hard is just gone. It's not even here anymore. That's a good thing. Now, if you have any other questions, and we end before you get a chance to get your question in, you can always write to me at Jam Play. You can send me a friend request in the community, and I check those, not every day, but I do check them, and I respond as soon as I'm available to do that. And you can always tune in. Tomorrow I've got my live Q&A in the morning at 7 to 9 my time in the Bay, in Pacific time. So your time frame might be a little bit different. But it's been good being with you today in this session. The next session, we're going to start talking about vowels and consonants. We're also going to have some interval exercises so that we can help zero in on the pitch when songs aren't chant-like, when they do some moving around. Sometimes we slide olives in a jar, you know. We want to have a little more purpose than that. So those are the things we're going to look at next week. Thanks for joining me in the neon rainbow, chasing that neon rainbow, singing and playing your guitar at the same time. I'm going to finish with, I am ready to sing, I am ready to sing, I am ready to sing along. I am ready to sing, I am ready to sing, I am ready to sing along. La la yada yada yada, yada 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 yada. That humming la la thing as a way to test my other chord shapes, which is also the other thing you can do if you're feeling really comfortable with the song. But that's it for today, folks. I'll see you next week. May the neon rainbow shine upon you, but not keep you awake at night.